Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard for Week 18. This is the last week of the 2024/2025 NFL season. I am Smokey Rameriz, and I am once again riding solo because, well, we all know why. Because the 49ers are at their lowest point in several years. Now, you got to dig back at least 5 years, I believe, to find a 49ers team that has been this bad. So Alex will not be joining me once again. Maybe into the playoffs, or who knows. We may have to see the 49ers start winning again next season before Alex comes back. But as for right now, we're going to get into this slate of games and see what we think about who might be the winners and losers this week. It is a very tough week to predict because there's going to be teams that are resting. There's so many teams that have already locked in their playoff bids, and they're probably going to be resting their starters, and that's going to give way for some of the lower ranked teams to steal some wins here. Who knows? Some people are playing to lose so that they can get their draft picks, and some teams are going to be playing to win just to play spoiler. There's also teams that are going to be playing just so they can finish the season with a win because players want the wins regardless of picks. There's a lot of quarterbacks that will be starting this week that doesn't care about your future draft pick. Let me try that again. About your future draft pick, because they want a job next season, so they're going to go out there and play their hearts out. They don't care. They might not even be on this team next season. They don't care about your draft picks. They want to go out and win. We saw the Giants last week. No doubt about it. A lot of these players are out there to win regardless of record and regardless of draft picks. So, let's get into it and see what we think this week. Let's start with the Ravens and the Browns. And this is pretty obvious right off the top. Everybody's going to be going with the Ravens here, especially them being at home. Now, you could say there is a good reason to rest the starters, but I don't think that happens here. It may be possible, but what I figure is Lamar wants to win another MVP trophy. Josh Allen probably isn't playing in this game, so Lamar would probably love to pad his stats. It's kind of iffy, because Lamar didn't even finish out the game last week in that huge blowout win on Christmas over the Texans and the country concert that ensued at halftime, but we'll stay off of that for right now. But Lamar didn't even finish the game, so it's really up in the air if he's looking to pad the stats, but I think he is. I think he wants that MVP trophy. He's going to talk Coach Harbaugh into getting out there if he can. So he would like to play this game, and the Browns are so bad, they're going to give up a ton of points. It's a great way to pad those stats and make that run for the MVP because Josh Allen is probably not playing. So you have that. Ravens are going to win this one easily on the road. Oh, I'm sorry, they are at home. Ravens are going to win this one easily at home. Alex believes that also. No disagreement there. Let's go to the Bengals and the Steelers. This is a very, very interesting game right here. Implications for the Bengals. Now, the Steelers are locked into the playoffs, so I don't think they care that much. However, I don't think Coach Tomlin sits players in this one. For one, because the team has been playing pretty poorly over the past few weeks, and we have to get that offense in gear if we're going to make a run in the playoffs. It's Russell Wilson and it's Justin Fields. We have to keep these guys fresh. We need to get them back into a groove. So I think they play. They definitely play this game. The Bengals are on the bubble. They have like a 6% chance of actually making the playoffs right now. Some things have to go their way and they have to win this game. And that offense is absolutely humming. Maybe the best offense in the entire NFL. Too bad they have one of the worst defenses in the NFL. But the Bengals are amazing on offense right now. They can put up a ton of points. And we know that the Steelers have been struggling over the past few weeks. I think the Bengals win this one because it just means more to the Bengals. Anyway, they're going to have to win this one and see what happens for the rest of the slate. But the Bengals take this one on the road. Alex agrees with that. Now the Panthers and the Falcons. Here's another one. The Panthers don't have much to play for except for a pick. And who knows if they want a quarterback with that pick. Whoever it's going to be, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, who's ever going to be available at that pick, they probably will take a quarterback. And Bryce Young probably stays around. There will probably be a quarterback battle next season, heading into the season. And we'll see how that progresses. Bryce Young may get one more season while a rookie sits on the bench. Probably the best idea for the Panthers right now. The Falcons have to win this, and they have to hope the Bucs lose after this game. Falcons have been playing much better. This offense is really good under Michael Penix. Little bit of problems with game management, time management, timeout management. Yeah, Morris is going to have to work on that. I've seen some people blaming Zach Robinson. Who knows really whose fault it was, but they should have won that game. It was a good overtime game, but hey, I look at it as a few weeks ago, nobody gave the Falcons a chance to win anything else for the rest of the season. I did not. I did not expect them to win any more games. Michael Penix comes in, the team looks much better. The team is playing harder. This offense is actually working for Michael Penix. You lost a very close one in overtime to one of the best teams in the NFL. Nothing to really be down about it this time, except for the fact that you let the Bucs come back and take the lead in the division. Now you have to win this game. You have to hope the Bucs lose. We're going to see how that plays out. But as for right now, the Falcons should take this one at home, and it shouldn't be much of a test in the end. Alex is picking the Falcons also. No disagreement there. Now, speaking of the Commanders, they're taking on the Cowboys in a division rivalry game. Well, all of these are division rivalry games. But either way, the Commanders are coming off of that overtime win against the Falcons. And with that, they are locked in to the playoffs. And they can't be bumped out by either the Bucs or the Falcons. One of those two teams is going to win the division, and the other one is out because of the record. They have a stellar record, 11-5. They can't be knocked out of that position. So, the Cowboys are firmly out of the playoffs. I don't think they're going to take it easy because they're not that far down where they're getting one of the first draft picks, one of the top fives or anything. So they're not worried about that. And it's the Cowboys. Jerry Jones is not going to let them rest players. That's just how it goes. He rules with an iron fist. Cooper Rush is playing pretty decently also. So I could see how anyone could assume that the Cowboys will win this one at home. And it's really tough. It's really close to call. The Commanders, they're better than the Cowboys. There's no doubt about that. But Cooper plays decently, and the Cowboys want to win. So I understand Alex picking the Cowboys at home here. I need to make up a few points, which I didn't talk about that, but I will in just a minute after we get through this slate because I forgot to talk about it in the beginning. I'm going to pick the Commanders and just hope for the best here. I need to make up a few points. I'll take the Commanders here. We will hope that they beat the Cowboys and finished off their season the way the Cowboys' season should be finished, in my opinion. Probably not the Cowboys fans, though. The Bears and the Packers. The Packers are in the same situation as the Commanders. They're right there firmly in the wild card round, and not much is going to change that at this point. So, they probably will think about resting players. I don't know if it will happen here, and I really don't know if it matters. In my opinion, the Bears are so bad that you can throw Malik Willis out there and still get the win, especially being at home. We're going to have to get those 3 to 4 wide receivers fired up in this game. Probably won't be as many passes if it's Malik Willis. He is definitely not the caliber of Jordan Love. But overall, the team is just better. The defense is better. The offense is better, even though the Bears do have many more good weapons than even the Packers do. But it's not going to matter. It's all quarterback related. If you guy can't feed those 3-star wide receivers the ball, then it really doesn't matter. It negates the whole situation. So, I'm taking the Packers at home. I'm going to say they go ahead and wrap up the season with a win, head into the playoffs with a little bit of momentum. Alex thinks the same way. He's picking the Packers. No disagreement there. The Jaguars and the Colts. My. This team has nothing to play for. The Jaguars or the Colts. The Colts blew it last week. People thought that was a shoo-in victory over the Giants. Flacco is out there. Anthony Richardson's not playing. Flacco's going to come in. We can move the ball. We're going to win this one easily because it's the Giants and Drew Lock. Not so fast, my friend. The Giants ran it on you. And they threw it on you. Malik Neighbors is an absolute star. Drew Lock had one of the best offensive outputs of the Giants since Eli Manning, I suppose. Probably the best game of Drew Lock's career. It was a great game. I liked watching it. So with that being the case, how can you have any faith in the Colts here? Jaguars are coming off of a win. Because Mac Jones is one of those guys who is very serviceable. And he could pull a Sam Darnold in the future. He had a bad run. He had a great rookie season. Then he had a couple bad seasons with the Patriots. He goes to sit on the bench with the Jaguars. He comes in and he has actually played really well. It's like Mac Jones and Drew Lock are getting this resurgence of their careers right now. Probably Mac Jones more than Drew Lock because Drew Lock has just done it in one game. But Mac Jones has actually played really decent in all the games he started since Trevor Lawrence has been out. So I think the Jags are better than the Colts right now. Yeah, the Colts put up a lot of points, but it was against one of the worst defenses in the league. The Jags got their win. Yeah, now it was against a bottom 5 team, for sure. I just think overall, the Jaguars have more going for them, regardless of either team having anything to play for. I think Mac Jones wants to win. He doesn't care about your draft pick next season. He wants to win. You could say the same thing for Flacco, because who knows if he'll even be back next year. He's got some age on him. We'll see if that happens. But I think the Jaguars are better. Alex is picking the Colts, so we disagree on that one. We'll see how this shakes out. The Bills and the Pats. Now, here's a team that probably will rest their star quarterback, Josh Allen. He probably feels like he has the MVP sewed up at this point in time. Refer back to what I said earlier about Lamar Jackson. I think he feels like he has this one. There's no reason for him to be out there, especially against the Patriots. They're locked into the number 2 seed. What does Allen have to play for? Not a lot. I think most of the other starters are going to be out there, though. I just don't think Allen will. That's going to put this team down a little bit. Now, I will say this. Sean McDermott said that Josh Allen will start this game, but he's not going to play the whole game. That is obvious. It may be one drive. It may be one quarter. I don't know how long he's going to play, but I think it's a definite at this point in time that he's not going to play most of the game. Yes, the Patriots struggled last week, but we know this is a developing team, and this team is going to be good into the future. Drake May is their star quarterback of the future, and I think he's got a lot to play for. I think the Patriots are going to come play their hearts out in this game. They're going to get over that loss last week, and they're going to finish out the season with a win over the Bills because it doesn't matter at all to the Bills. I think the Patriots win this one. Alex is going to stick with the Bills. We'll see how this shakes out. Is the team without Josh Allen good enough to beat the Patriots? Maybe. I'm saying probably not. I'm saying Drake May gets it done right here. The Giants and the Eagles. That offense was absolutely clicking. Drew Lock probably earned another year as a backup somewhere. I know a lot of people get carried away when a game like this happens and they're like, oh my God, he's going to be a starter somewhere next year. Sometimes that happens. Sam Darnold, Geno Smith. Yes, sometimes that happens. Not always, and probably not for Drew Lock. I don't think one game is quite going to get him the starting position anywhere, but he will be the number 2 on a team somewhere, and he'll get another year to prove himself. Maybe he can turn it around. We'll find out going into the future, but the Eagles, we already know. There's going to be Kenny Pickett out there, probably a less than 1% chance that Jalen Hurts is going to be out there. So, make of that what you will. Alex is picking the Eagles here. Maybe because Saquon needs 101 yards to break the all-time rushing record. So they'll probably make an attempt to get that. I'm expecting Saquon to play. If things aren't going well, they'll probably pull him and say, hey, good luck trying to get it. You know, you broke other records, you're good. But if he can get that 100 yards, they'll make sure he does, I'm sure. But I don't know. Tough to say, but I think the Giants, like I said, have more to play for. The Eagles do not. They're stuck where they are in the playoffs. The Giants want to finish off the season with a win. Drew Lock is going to go out there and play his heart out once again, trying to get that win. We know Malik Neighbors is going to play his heart out. He's just that type of player. He's a baller. He's one of the best receivers in the league already. The guy is great. I'm picking the Giants to win this game. Alex is going with the chalk, sticking with the Eagles at home. This is a tough one, but I'm going to disagree. The Saints and the Bucks. Now, obviously, anyone with half a mind is going to pick the Bucks here. The Saints are coming off some terrible losses. Spencer Rattler is probably only playing right now to ensure that we get a higher draft pick. He doesn't know that. You watch him play, he doesn't know that he's supposed to be losing. But he's in the game to lose. And that's probably upper management because we don't even know who the coach is going to be next season. But it is strategical to keep Spencer Rattler in the game. The Bucks are going to be at full force. Bucky Irving, already one of the best running backs in the league. No doubt about it. I'm expecting the Bucks to win this game and knock the Falcons out of the playoffs. Would I like to see the Bucks lose here and see the Falcons win? Absolutely. I would love to see the Falcons make the playoffs because now that the offense is clicking, I would like to see what they can do. But there's a small chance. Like, it's 11% chance, I think it was, at this point in time that the Falcons make the playoffs. So, we're probably going down the tubes because the Bucks will probably win this one. Alex agrees, no doubt. Texans are going to be resting. Texans and Titans. Texans are going to be resting players. Obviously, they're coming off of a very bad beating at the hands of the Ravens at home on Christmas. So, they don't have a lot going for them. Maybe they do need to be resting. I'm personally not a fan of resting your starters because I see how bad some of these teams are once they hit the playoffs after resting because they just look cold. I'm a fan of leaving your starters out there and let them stay in their rhythm. Keep the momentum. I don't like resting players, but coaches are going to do it. They're afraid of injury, so they will. Texans are overall a better team than the Titans, and even though this is in Nashville, the Texans are probably heavy favorites after that loss. It doesn't matter because it's the Titans, and they're coming off of a bad loss also to a bottom 5 team. We'll stick with the Texans on the road. Alex agrees. Here's one for Alex. The 49ers and the Cardinals. Brock Purdy's injured. We might be seeing Josh Dobbs play this game. Now, yes, we've seen Josh Dobbs come in relief and win games, for sure. If Brock Purdy's not out there, I don't think the 49ers are near as good. You can say what you want about Shanahan taking backup quarterbacks and backup running backs and whoever and winning games with them, but this 49ers team is not good right now. The defense is not worth a bucket of salt at this point in time. Yeah, that defense is bad. Maybe the offense will get a little bit going. You still got George Kittle out there. Debo is not having his best season by any means, but you have pieces out there for Josh Dobbs to play with. I don't know, man. The Cardinals aren't good either, but I think I'm going to disagree. I think it's going to be the Cardinals game right here. Not a lot to play for either team other than bragging rights and division rivalry. I'm going to stick with the Cardinals. I'm going to say the 49ers take one more loss and get a big reset and head into next season with a new plan and a new script. Cardinals win this one at home. The Chiefs and the Broncos. Chiefs are going to be resting, right? Patrick Mahomes is not playing this game. I'd be surprised if he did. It's not impossible that he comes out there and plays. But much like the Josh Allen thing, if he does play, it'll probably be a quarter, maybe even a drive. we'll see Carson Wentz come in and play. On the other side, the Broncos, this is a must-win game for them. They're going to need some magic to happen. They have to win this game, which is very likely at this point in time. They have to win this, and they need some help. They are firmly on the bubble at this point in time. They need to get in there. They're going to have to win this game. I think Bo Nix, in his rookie season, gets it done. Now, as far as the Rookie of the Year thing, that's going to be a tough decision when it comes down to Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix. But we'll see who wins that. And in the end, I think the Broncos get this done at home right here. The Seahawks and the Rams. The Seahawks are out of the playoffs. The Rams are firmly in. So we could see resting by the Rams. We could see Stafford and Nakua watching this game from the sidelines. Seahawks, I mean, this is bragging rights for you guys. I mean, you're probably not getting a high pick, but you're not getting a low pick either. I don't know. I think this is all just, do the players want to win? I think Geno's going to go out there and try to win. So I'm not picking the Rams. I will say I kind of wanted to see Stetson Bennett play in this game, but it's looking like it's going to be Jimmy Garoppolo and Blake Corum starting at running back. But I'm sticking with the Seahawks. Alex is taking the Rams. There's a disagreement. The Chargers and the Raiders. Chargers are likely to be resting also. Hard to tell. I think a Harbaugh thing to do would be to play your guys. Man, look at the momentum they have right now. Look at what they did just last week and laying a beat down all over the Patriots' backside. Man, this team is looking good. You love to see it. It's a team that you want to root for. Not that I love the Harbaughs or anything, but I like this team, and I like Justin Herbert, and I like Ladd McConkey. I like the pieces they have out there. I like J.K. Dobbins. These are some of my favorite players in the NFL. I'm glad to see them doing well. I think they deserve it. The Raiders, on the other hand, are coming off of a win. Don't know why they needed it, but they went and got it. Aiden O'Connell and Brock Bowers got the job done. Brock Bowers is not only maybe the best rookie tight end of all time, better than Mike Ditka if you want to go back that far, better than Kyle Pitts, better than Gronkowski, better than, who else had a great one? Sam Laporta last season. Evan Ingram of a few years back. Like, there was some decent, very decent rookie tight end years, but nothing like Brock Bowers has done. He is the number one tight end in the entire league in his rookie season. That is a position that doesn't develop until season 3 in general. And here he is, season 1, the best tight end in the league and one of the best overall receivers, pass catchers in the entire league. If you haven't noticed that this guy is special, you're going to notice years into the future because I don't see him going anywhere. I think this continues. I think he's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. I know people hate making that assumption right up front, but I said this when the guy came out of high school. This is a Hall of Famer in the making. He might be the greatest of all time. People hate making that assumption after just a few games, one season. People don't even like him making it after 3 or 4 seasons. But I saw it in this guy, and he's going to be great into the future. But anyway, do they get this win here against the Chargers? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that John Harbaugh wants to keep this team oiled up, keep them in working condition. I think this might be another blowout. I think the Chargers will have a ton of momentum heading into the playoffs. Picking the Chargers, so is Alex. The Dolphins and the Jets. Man, let's talk about the Jets real quick. This team does not want to play for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers needs one more touchdown to get to that magical 500 mark, and he did not get it this past week as they got blown out by the Bills. This team is in disarray. Sauce Gardner doesn't want to be there. Garrett Wilson doesn't want to be there because ever since Devontae Adams came in, that's Aaron Rodgers' boy, they kind of took over this team, and the rest of the team is not happy about it. Man, this team is bad. They're really bad. And it may be that the Jets are just snake bit. I think I might have said that earlier in the season. This team is much like the Browns. Like, you may have a decent season here and there, but you're always going to revert back to the bottom of the barrel because you're the Jets and because you're the Browns, for that matter. At least the Lions have broke that curse recently. I'd much rather be a fan of a mediocre team like the Falcons who can make a decent run from time to time than having one of these teams that are just the factory of sadness teams, or something like the Jets where, no matter what pieces you put out there, you're eventually going to revert back to bottom of the barrel. Dumpster fire is your natural state of being, and that's where the Jets are back at right now. Who knows what's in the future for Aaron Rodgers? Probably his last game in the NFL. I'd make that assumption. I don't know who wants him next year. I don't know if he wants to play. This has been turmoil this entire season. Really, 2 seasons with the injury and everything. And the world has turned on Aaron Rodgers. This team is horrible. I don't think they get the win here because the Dolphins, this is a must-win situation, and they need some help if they're going to make it to the playoffs. By this point in time, they'll probably know if they're going to make it or not. We'll see how that shakes out, but the Dolphins are overall a much better team than the Jets because the Jets are just not a cohesive unit at this point in time. I'm taking the Dolphins. So is Alex. There shouldn't be a question there. Game of the week, and it's very fitting that it is in prime time. Vikings and the Lions for the last game of the regular season of the 2024 season, and this should be a barn burner. Unless both teams decide to bench their starters. And then we're going to get a backup barn burner. The NFL might want to step in and say, hey, guys, I understand the implications here. And you might want to rest your starters. But this is the last game of the season. And this is in prime time. You might want to throw your superstars out there. We're going to see how this shakes out. Overall, I think the Lions are better than the Vikings, but only slightly because the Vikings are one of the best in the NFL. So, assuming both teams play their starting lineups, this game is going to be magnificent, and this game will be a shootout. The Lions have been in a few shootouts this season, and they've come out the victor on almost every single one of them. The Vikings, yeah, they're winning those one-score games, but isn't that what the Vikings do? Isn't that pretty much been their MO for as far back as anyone can remember? When the Vikings have a really good season, it's usually with a quarterback that the other teams didn't want, and it's usually winning one-score games, but winning a lot of them. We're talking 13, 14-win seasons, winning most of them by one score. But the Lions are at home. They would love to wrap up the season with a home victory in front of their home crowd and get those fans into the building for the playoffs. You got that bye. Man, Detroit has not seen anything like this. In the existence of the team, they have not seen a team like this. They're going to be with it. The fans are probably going to be the loudest they've been this entire season. Right here against the Vikings. Because they need to cap off the best season they've ever had with this last win over the Vikings. So I'm taking the Lions here. Not saying anything bad about the Vikings because they're still one of the best teams in the league. Just so happens you're in the division with the best team in the NFC and possibly the best team in the league. The Bills might have something to say about that. We'll find out. Hopefully that is your Super Bowl matchup. The Bills versus Lions, part 2. We'll see how that shakes out. But right here, taking the Lions. So is Alex. Now, before we move on to the MVP talk, I forgot to talk about our recap from our picks last week. So, last week, we disagreed on 4 picks. That was the Titans and the Jaguars. The Raiders and the Saints. Alex got that one. That's the only one he got, though. The Packers and the Vikings. The Falcons and Commanders. I picked the Commanders, the Vikings, the Jaguars, and I picked the Saints. So, unfortunately, I could not make up 4 points. I did make up 3 points, but Alex got one of them. Bringing the total on the week. 14 for me out of 16 games. That's pretty dang good. 12 for Alex. Not bad either. Total on the season, 185 for me, 188 for Alex. This week we have 6 disagreements. So I have a really good chance to at least tie this, if not take the victory for the regular season, and we'll see how the playoffs go after that. MVP talk, I think I've kind of mentioned it throughout the entire episode here. There's 2 names that are battling it out. And it's going to be really interesting to see how much playing time those 2 names get. Jesus, pluralization, pal. Anywho, it comes down to Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Whoever pads their scores just enough is going to have a little bit of advantage. A lot of people say it's a regular season award. It doesn't really matter what happens in the postseason, but this award is not handed out until right before the Super Bowl. I tend to think the postseason does have a lot to do with it. It is going to influence people, the voters. I mean, it doesn't matter that it's not supposed to. It does. It always happens. The postseason plays a lot into these awards. But as for the regular season right now, it's going to come down to this final week to see which of those 2 guys adds just a little more seasoning to the recipe. Pads that resume just a little more. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Who you got? Tell us down in the comments. Hey, give us a thumbs up. If you like this, subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate you guys sticking with us for the season. And just me for the past few weeks. Maybe, what is it? Was this number 5 in a row that I've done by myself? Maybe Alex will return to the show one day. We'll find out going into the future. Anyways, for Alex, I am Smokey Rameriz. I'll see you guys next week for the playoffs. Deuces.